We live. I was telling him showed up for me. We live. What's going on out there? What's up, world? Figure out how to work my banners. That'd be good. Yes. Uh, Banner's still not showing up in the background. Appreciate y'all, man. Topic for the night. Why do women want to have kids first? Topic for the night. Why do women want to have kids first and then be wives later? Once again, why do women want to have kids first and then become wives later? One of these days, I'm going to figure out how to get my topic down there at the bottom so y'all can see it. But be patient with me. I'm going to figure it out. I'm still a work in progress. How y'all doing out there tonight? What's going on? Appreciate you for tuning in. Give y'all a minute. Give it a little minute. Give it a little minute for people to tune in. What's going on, world? Hope everybody's Saturday was going well. Hope everybody's weekend is going well. Football season's over. Some boring Saturdays right now. Got another couple months to go with this. What? But we're going to get there one day at a time. One day at a time. You feel me? What's going on, world? What's going on? Chime in. Tag some people out here. What we got. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Check me out. Like I said, once again, topic for the night is why do women have kids before being wives? It's a discussion for the night. A little food for thought. You know what I'm saying? Let's get down to the bottom of it. You know what I'm saying? Ladies, y'all chime in. Please let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts. Fellas, y'all as well. You know what I'm saying? I hear a lot of times. I watch a lot of old Kevin Samuels previous, podcasts and videos, and quite a few of the women that he has had on his platform, in the past. And I just noticed a lot of the women, are always, not all, but a lot of the women have felt like their value based off of their life experience has made them a more valuable woman because of the things that they had been through and the things that they encountered within their past relationships. Now, within that time, they've accumulated, some trauma, some children along the way, learned, I'm sure, and possibly got better in some ways. Fair enough. But one of the things that I don't understand is how in the world can these women think that their value has increased as they continue to get older and continue to have children. And another thing that I noticed that a lot of women are saying is that, when they were asked why the relationship didn't work, he was toxic and it was an abusive relationship, or we just weren't compatible. I mean, there was always negativity coming from them that they were saying that, from their exes, their kids' fathers or father. And then you ask the amount of time and how long they've been together. 10, 15 years. So you was in a toxic, abusive relationship for over 10, 15 years, and you decided to continue to have kids time and time again, not one, not two, sometimes 3, 4, or 5 kids, but you was in an abusive, toxic relationship and you wanted to raise your kids in that type of environment. I mean, come on, man. At some point in time, you got to make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? To take some accountability and then stop expecting the next man to to sit up and want to raise those children because you sat up and you were in this toxic relationship that was unhealthy, for amount of time, because you realize now that you've done some self work and realize that, you have some greater value. Why didn't you just start with having that value in the beginning? What happened to having that value from day one? We all make mistakes. None of us are perfect. You know what I'm saying? But we got to start. Well, women, I think definitely need to start because, you guys are the gateway to sex. We can't have it without y'all. You know what I'm saying? And us guys, hey, this is keep real. We're going to shoot our best shot. We're going to shoot our best shot to get off up in there. Because I say, let's just keep it real. That's one of the goals. We want to get in that cookie box, man. If y'all going to allow us to do that, we're going to be like a car salesman in there. We going to, a lot of times, I'm saying, not saying it's right, but, guys will say whatever need to say in order to try to better their chances in order to have sex with you and be intimate with you. So, but it's up to you as a woman to control whether or not you're going to have these kids or not, especially if you want to be a wife. So what I don't understand is why are you guys having, multiple children and then the relationship doesn't work and then coming back and saying, oh, I want to be a wife now. But you didn't want to be a wife in the beginning. That wasn't important. I would love to know. I would love to know your thoughts. Y'all ladies, y'all let me know. Please let me know. We got here. Yo, I see you. Yeah. But yes, I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't understand what the situation is. You know what I'm saying? And why, I feel like, women a lot of times are doing things backwards. Doesn't make any sense to me. I think, what is it? Is it, that women are so drawn in to the person that they're with or hoping that at some point in the future that marriage is going to come? There's no guarantees in life. So I don't understand why you would set yourselves up for that. You know what I'm saying? Why not set the table, have these conversations at the beginning when you decided you're going to be exclusive with each other? Hey, this is my expectation. I want to be a wife. Okay? I want to be a wife first, then I want to have kids. You know what I'm saying? It's very important not to wait till you have 2, 3 kids and then decide, oh, I want to be a wife now. Who we got? Miss Jessica. Okay. Can you
Hello.
hear me?
I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. So, topic for tonight, if you don't know, is why are more women having children first and then wanting to have wives later? What is your thoughts on that?
Maybe they had the child thinking they would become a wife.
Okay, but why not? Why do you think? When you think it would make more sense for women to set the table at the beginning, let and communicate with the man, like, hey, listen, I do want to have kids. I do want to have a family one day, but I want to do things the right way, and I want to be a wife first. Then I want to have kids. Don't you think that would make more sense?
I do. And I think some women do. It just doesn't always happen that way. And then for whatever reason, you have the child and then the marriage doesn't come.
But okay, so which leads me back to my first point. Women, you guys control sex. And at the end of the day, you guys are going to control whether or not, you have this child or not. So say an accident's happen. Okay, so say, for example, you know what I'm saying, you guys are together, you've been in a relationship, things are going well, you know what I'm saying, and boom, you get pregnant. Have a conversation with your spouse, your boyfriend, and y'all decide you're going to have this child. And years later, we all know kids can be stressful, brings a lot of responsibility, and sometimes it takes a little attention away from the relationship, you and your partner's relationship. And y'all decide that, hey, you know what, you guys aren't getting along, relationship is going, a little left, you guys have grown apart, you guys decide to end things. Now you got this child out here, that you guys have to raise and co-parent. Now you're going to the next person because you've learned and you're a better person, and we all should get, more mature with age. And now you get to the next guy, and now you're talking about, what your value or your worth is and what you're not going to settle for. I think it's a little contradictory because the next guy is going to be like, well, why wasn't you demanding those things the first go around?
But she may have been. And sometimes the first time, maybe not the second or third, but the first time, having the child may have changed the course of the relationship.
Okay. Which, I
So
mean,
then the
we
next
all,
time you've learned and you grow and you realize, oh, well, now I need, these are the things that I want and this is what's important to me. And I'm setting a different expectation.
right? Fair enough. Okay. So what about the women that are having 2 and 3 kids or more and that relationship didn't work? And now they're demanding the guy that, hey, now they know their value, they know their worth, they know they know what they're willing to deal with, they know what their expectations are. They're setting a higher bar. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm seeing a trend of this because there's a lot of single women out here that have multiple children and failed prior relationships with these kids' fathers. And now they're setting a higher precedent moving forward as far as what their expectation is as far as with these men. I just think it's a bit contradictory. I mean, I think we all should grow and learn as individuals, but I think at some point we got to break the cycle. You know what I'm saying? And women have to do a better job and have to be held accountable and stop setting a low standard. It seems like it's a low standard the first time around with these guys. I think it's maybe I don't know if it's love, infatuation, and then the relationship doesn't work, and then now the growth and maturity comes. It's like and also just learning from your mistakes. We all make mistakes. And then now it's a bit of a different, path that they want to take going forward with the next guys. Fair enough, but it just comes across a little bit like a slap in the face, I think, for a lot of men. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of us are just, fed up with hearing the same thing over and over again. You know what I'm saying? With these failed relationships and there's multiple kids and, they're having to deal with. And just needs to be more of a level playing field. And I think women would be wives more if they demanded from the get go what the expectations were rather than waiting till things don't work out and then getting with, what I'm saying, the next guy and try to set more of a higher standard and timetable. What do you think?
I can agree with that. I think that there should be more conversations had in the beginning, expectations set, discussing intentions before it's months down the line, before you've, had sex and have feelings and things are happening. Um, then that would probably prevent a lot of this.
Correct.
If you know where you stand with the other person, then there would be less of these conversations happening as an afterthought.
Correct. I agree. Like I go back to like, say our elders, our grandparents and, uncles and aunties or whatnot, back in the day, you know, it was a different expectation. And not to say that obviously things are different here in 2025,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a standard that had already been set. Most men knew that in order to be with a woman, that you were going to have to marry her first. That was
Correct.
to be established. Whether when you met the parents, most likely the father, when a man was interested in a woman, you're going to have to meet the father, have a conversation with him. You know what I'm saying? He was going, basically have to get his approval. He was going to pretty much have to sign off on it. Times are a little different now. So, but there was a different timetable that was set. And the expectation was if that man was interested in that young lady, 9 times out of 10, he already knew that he had to make her a wife first
Correct.
before they were going
And
to
you're
have kids.
definitely getting married if you got pregnant.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No ifs and buts about it. But majority of the time, I want to say at least 90% of the time, maybe even 95, you're going to have to make her your wife first before you guys are going to be intimate and do anything. The dating process was cut short. You know what I'm saying? It was, you might go on a couple of dates and it's, okay, hey, what we doing here? It was cut a lot short. Then you're going to start having kids. So now I don't know what the switch was and how we got off course. You know what I'm saying? As a people, but we're not seeing that a lot of times now. It's almost foreign to hear that couples, man and woman, is getting married first, then having kids. It almost seems uncommon now. Now it's the complete opposite. You know what I'm saying? Men as well. You know what I'm saying? Out here, we're having multiple kids, you know what I'm saying? Failed relationships, picking the wrong person. I think that's a lot of what's going on. Us as individuals, as men and women, we're not doing a good job of interviewing the people that we're deciding to try to build something with. You know, I think it needs to be, we gotta treat it like a job application. You know what I'm saying? Interview, it's a screening process. You know what I'm saying? We go into a job, those people are trying to do the best job they can to put the best employees into their company and invest in them. We gotta start doing the same thing. We talk about someone that's gonna be investing in, is gonna be in your body, be in your house, be around you, be around your family, be around yourself. I mean, it's a lot. So you should want to choose the best person possible that you feel is gonna be best for you. Now, we're always gonna guess right or choose right? Probably not all the time. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, we need to do a better job with the screening process than what we've been doing in current times. And it seems like it's getting worse and worse. You know what I'm saying? And we're ultimately too, we're raising these kids in broken homes, and we're just setting a bad, you know what I'm saying, example for the children. It's setting them to let them know, like society that is, that, oh, it's okay to have kids first, especially for these young ladies. Oh, it's okay to have kids first. The
So you
marriage will
think
come
it
later.
falls on you think it falls on women?
I think it definitely falls more on women because, like I say, y'all control sex. If I'm a guy, let me give you an example. If I decide to go out and me and my homeboys, we going out to a club, all right? I'm gonna try to get fresh. You know what I'm saying? Get clean, nice outfit, give me a shave, try to present myself possible to shoot my shot to get me a young lady and say I want to take her home. There's no guarantees that that woman is gonna come home with me. All I can do is try to put myself in the best position possible in order to try to convince this woman to be intimate with me. But now for a woman, you guys that is, y'all don't have to do that. Y'all don't have to hope and pray. Y'all can sit up here, boom, 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 choose a guy. Hey, I like you, this and that. Let's go home and get busy. 9 times out of 10, that guy's gonna take it. You guys are the gateway. You guys control sex. Men don't control sex. Men control whether or not we can make you a wife or not.
So
But
should
we,
women wait longer to have sex with men then?
um, it's a good question. I think in some cases, to be honest, yes. Just to keep it 100. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. In most cases, women definitely have to wait a little, need to wait a little longer. Because at the end of the day, if you're having sex with me immediately, then I'm probably without any foundation that's being built. Am I really gonna respect you like that? Am I really taking you seriously as far as being in a relationship? Absolutely not. There's been women that I've had a one night stand with, and then to come back a week, 2 weeks later, and say, "Oh, hey, I think we should date each other." Nah, dating is off the table. You've already got the prize. So why am I date you now at this point? You know what I'm saying?
Well, so how long is sufficient enough if a woman wants to build something or wants to be a wife?
Uh, I'm not gonna say it can be 2 weeks, a month, 3 months, or anything. As far as that, I think it's a lot about having these conversations, having the real conversations from the get go. You know what I'm saying? Building rapport, building a foundation with each other. You know what I'm saying? Really getting to know each other, having these conversations. I mean, it's 2025. I mean, if you're interested in someone, you're going to talk to this person that you're interested throughout the day. What, 5 to 6 times a day? There's a lot that you can learn from an individual within these conversations. Going out, spending time with each other. You know what I'm saying? Asking the uncomfortable questions. You know what I'm saying? And also, too, you want to see how someone deals under stressful situations. I think a lot of times, we see these individuals, men and women, and we see how they deal when everything is good, when everything is calm and life is good. But okay, how does this person deal when the stress level is up? How does this person deal when things aren't good? You know, how do they deal when they're upset? How do they deal when they're happy? That's when you're gonna find out the real person. You know what I'm saying? When they're upset, when things in life is not going well. That's the biggest question. That's the biggest thing. So I don't think it's a actual number you can put on it. You know what I'm saying? Where, like I said, it could be a month, 2 months. But I think it comes on. We have to use your best judgment as an adult and say, okay, hey, I've done my proper screening. I feel like I've asked the necessary questions that I need about this person. I feel comfortable going forward with this person to be intimate with this person. You know what I'm saying? And intimate and not having a child is something else. So say now you got to that point to where now you felt comfortable. So how does it get to a point to where now Woman gets pregnant and she decides to have a child, but she's not a wife, and y'all haven't talked about marriage.
So what if you have the conversation, you set the expectation,
Hmm.
you wait enough time, you both have this intention of dating, and you're both looking for marriage, you would marry each other,
Hmm.
then how would the woman know that he would choose her to be a wife in the process of having sex and having feelings and all of these things happening? She doesn't know that she's going to be chosen to be a wife, but in that
Well, okay,
time, she could still get pregnant.
correct. Now, are you guys now? Are they exclusive? Are y'all in a relationship, or y'all just casually dating? Are we
If they're in
talking
a
about?
relationship.
Okay, so yeah, we be in a relationship. So it goes the same way for a man. We don't necessarily know that this woman's going to choose us. It's a two-way street. You have faith. You feel like you built that rapport and set this foundation with this person, so you feel comfortable enough to know that, okay, hey, this is my person. I rock with her. I care for her. I'm hoping that at this point that you love this woman, and vice versa. This woman loves this man, and they're building something solid together. But there's no guarantees in nothing in life. There's definitely no guarantees. But you want to have faith, and also too keep that line of communication open. We hear a lot of times how couples, marriages end, relationships end because, oh, we grew apart. And a lot of that is because the line of communication stopped. So that line of communication, though it sounds redundant, we hear it a lot of times in relationships or whatnot, but it is important. You have to keep that line of communication open. So I think if that's happening and you guys are communicating with each other, um, then I think then yeah, definitely a woman can be a wife. But that line of communication, and it has to be on both sides. And myself, I've been guilty of that in the past, not doing a good job in past relationships of communicating. I think women, just by nature, are a little better with being more open and in tune with their emotions. Us as men need to do a better job of being a little bit more emotionally intelligent and being comfortable, what I'm saying, and communicating with our partner. Hey, the do's and the don'ts, having, what I'm saying, these conversations and uncomfortable conversations, with our lady or when things aren't going right. They don't necessarily have to be uncomfortable conversations, but hey, listen, I'm a little unhappy with some things or whatnot, da 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 da, and we need to get back on the same page. So, but I mean, ultimately, no. I mean, there's no guarantees in nothing. You know what I'm saying? But you want to have that faith that things are going to work out.
But if the woman controls sex and the man chooses her to be his wife, there's still neither there's then how would either person, even though she chooses him to have sex with, it doesn't mean that he would choose her to be his wife.
Correct.
So she could still end up in this situation or having a child, like, oh, well, she's good enough to have a child with, and you having sex and you're playing this role in this relationship, but she's not good enough to be your wife.
Okay, but then that's where the responsibility falls on the woman as well. So don't you think that a woman needs to take that responsibility? Because at the end of the day, like I hear a lot, my body, my choice. So even though, yeah, the guy, he could be saying all the right things, I guess some accountability is 50-50. It's two people. So as a woman, don't you think it's her responsibility as a woman, you guys' responsibility as a woman to make the decision on whether or not you want to move forward and have this child, and he hasn't given you that honor of being his wife yet?
Um, that's a very loaded question.
Well, break it down for me. So say for like I said, let's think if you guys have communicated.
So if you're communicating, you're in
Mhm.
this relationship, he says or gives you this impression that things are progressing and going well. You end up pregnant. You both agree to the pregnancy,
Okay.
but he still doesn't choose you to be a wife. Should she just stays and plays this role and like I don't think that it's all the woman's responsibility.
Okay, but see, this is my point. We're getting off track here because this is why I said women need to demand being wives first rather than having kids. So if the timetable has been set that a woman is non-negotiable, that a woman has already said that she wants to be a wife, and she's not folding on that, then going forward, that's the standard. That the standard is the standard. That's what needs to be set regardless.
So
So
should
now,
it also be that she demands that she's not having sex until she becomes a wife?
I mean, she can choose to demand that, but let's be real. In 2025, is the man going to be faithful and locked into a woman who's not having sex with him? In 2025, absolutely not. Now we
That's
talking
not
about.
fair.
I think it's fair. We're talking about kids.
So you
Kids and
want
sex is
you
two different
want a
things.
woman to give up her body. I'm gonna
Mhm.
have sex with you, and you with my intention to be a wife, and you may or may not make me a wife, but I should risk and take the chance of getting pregnant and giving you my body while you figure it out.
Okay, but why is it a risk for you to get pregnant? Why isn't it the responsibility on both of you guys, like you say, to prevent having a child before marriage?
That is true, but you just said if the woman gets pregnant, then it's her responsibility to make that choice of moving forward and having a child.
She could, my body, my choice. I hear it all. I hear women say it all the time. My body, my choice. So if a woman decides to go ahead and, have now, would it be fair to have a conversation, what I'm saying, with your partner and spouse or whatnot on whether or not you want to have this child or not? Okay, cool. Okay, so say for example, you made it clear that you want to be a wife first. Life happens, you get pregnant, you decide that you don't want to have this child, and he decides he wants to have this child. You're in a little bit of a bind now, and you decide to go against your better judgment, even though you said a precedent that hey, you want to be a wife. Now, but you pregnant. Okay, boom. So you decide to move forward. You decide to go ahead and have this child. I'm sure a lot of women experience this. Okay, now you had this child. All right, now y'all are raising these kids, and then guess what? A couple of years later, now another kid comes, and you still in the same boat, and you still ain't got that ring, you still ain't got that wedding, you still not a wife, and now the relationship didn't work. The relationship hasn't worked out. Okay. Now y'all decided to go your separate ways, or you set a precedent that, hey, you know what? I don't want to continue to do this anymore. We've been together for 7 years and I'm still not a wife. You're not taking me seriously. You're frustrated. You decide you want to move on. Now the
Right.
next
So
time,
then the next time
uh-huh.
she would be a little more demanding because we she learned that I need to do things differently.
And that's the problem that we're having. We got so many women out here that's demanding marriage from the next guy because of the previous failed relationship.
But that happens in any relationship. You learn something, whether it's being a wife or a different level of respect or a different level of communication,
Mhm.
because in the past it didn't work out or whatever those traits were didn't go well. So, yeah, so the next time, yes, the expectation is a little different.
Yeah, but the problem is there's 2, 3 kids that's brought to that learning experience. It's not just your emotional growth and as an individual that you're bringing. You're bringing that emotional growth and maturity along with 2 and 3 kids. That's what's happening in a lot of cases. So now women are talking about how much their worth and value is, but now she's bringing, what I'm saying, some kids to that table with that worth and value. I think it's a bit contradictory. It doesn't make any sense to me.
She's still worthy, even though she has children.
We're all worthy. We're all worthy as individuals. I was taught to have a lot of self worth and value. We don't have grown men walking around in 2025 talking about they know their worth and their value. It's only the single women with the baggage, what I'm saying, and the son husbands and the broken homes and these terrible baby daddies that they say are so toxic that what I'm saying, they know their worth and their value.
Because y'all seem to forget that we're valuable, so we have to remind you.
I think, wouldn't you think that it would make more sense if women show a man their value and not just have to constantly communicate what their
I,
value is?
I think you can do both.
Okay.
Like I could meet a guy and say, I know my value and I know my worth, and also while showing him and like setting the expectation of this is what I want and this is what I, expect.
Okay. Agreed. I think a lot of it is the delivery. I think a lot of it is that us as men, what I'm saying, being out on the dating scene for some time is the delivery. I mean, I think us as individuals, know that yes, women do have self worth and value. We all do. But I think a lot of times it's how it's communicated. It comes off a bit arrogant. If a
Okay,
woman,
I can agree with that.
yeah, a woman, if she's going through a past bad relationship, and there was some trauma that was involved. It was an unhealthy. It was just overall, it was an unhealthy relationship. Now she's grown from that. She's left there. She's done the self work that she's needed to do,
Mm-hmm.
and she's grown as a person and as an individual. Great, but she's also come into just a new relationship with 2 and 3 kids. So it's like, okay. And if a man is willing to accept that, because let's be older, most of us have kids, multiple kids. Okay, that's fine. And if a man is willing to accept that, and I think a lot of men will, okay, cool. Humble yourself. A lot of these women are getting a little out of pocket with the delivery. I know my worth. I know my value, and I'm not settling. Baby girl, you got 3 kids and 2 baby daddies. Take it easy. Show me what your self worth is. Show me what your value is.
Well, maybe it's because we just encounter like so many, there's a lot of men that can be disrespectful and they don't take into account, these things. So women feel like it has to be said. But I agree, there could be a difference in the delivery.
That's it.
I'll agree with that.
I mean, I think that's it. I mean, I hear a lot of times, that women have had, bad experiences, on the dating scene, bad experiences with men. Of course, I'm not sitting up here trying to say that every man out here, I'm saying, is perfect and has it all together. Absolutely not. I'm saying? They definitely don't. But give the man an opportunity, I'm saying? Because there's a lot of women out here that don't have themselves together as well, and they're still a work in progress. And that's fine. Do the self work. Problem is, it's a lot of women who are not taking accountability and being realistic for the work that they still need to put in. You know what I'm saying? If a man is willing to, most men, like I say, we are going to date. First of all, it's going to be the physical that's going to attract the man. You know what I'm saying? To a woman in most cases. So if a man is physically attracted to this woman, now you want to see, is there some substance, behind the physical. All right.
Hmm.
Now we're going to have some conversations. Let's see if she got a good head on her shoulders. You know what I'm saying? Is she smart? Is she intelligent? You know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of the factors. Is she emotionally intelligent? You know what I'm saying? Is she nurturing? Is she supportive? Most importantly, are you peaceful? And that's a huge thing for a lot of men. A lot of women are not peaceful. They're bringing a lot of drama. Maybe from that past relationship that they have, and they've set up. You know what I'm saying? They've convinced themselves that, I'm not going to do this going forward with the next guy. And no future guy wants to pay for the past man's mistakes. You know what I'm saying? I think that's why it's very important for a lot of women to maybe go to counseling, do the self work that they need to, in order to get themselves totally healed before they start to get into, a current situation.
Hmm. As do men.
Correct. Correct. Absolutely. But let me ask you a question. What product do you think gains value as it gets older?
Women.
Please explain.
You grow, you mature, you bring a lot of things to the relationship. Women like make the world go round. They like keep the house together, the
Okay.
children, they bear children, you know.
A good woman will keep the house intact. I'm a true believer in
Of
that.
course.
A good woman will keep the
I'm not
house
talking
intact.
about a bad woman. Yeah,
But
a good woman.
we got to
She's
talk about all women,
valuable.
'cause all women ain't good women, just like all men ain't good men. So, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying? It's a two-way street. You know what I'm saying? I think but that's another topic
I
for another
don't,
day.
so you're saying you think a good woman loses value over time?
What I'm saying, yes, depending on her age, weight, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of factors that comes into that. You know what I'm saying? So have you purchased a car before in your lifetime?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So say for example, you're going to go purchase a new vehicle. All right. And you're going to go trade in your older vehicle. You come out, you've already picked out online, you've seen the car and the vehicle that you want. You go to the dealership, you know what I'm saying? You say, hey, I have X amount of dollars I want to put down, and I'm looking to trade in my older car for this 2025 vehicle. Car salesman most likely is going to ask you, okay, and he's hoping that you're going to be realistic. How much do you want for your trade in? And you have say a 1997 excuse me, 2000 Honda Accord with over 200,000 miles on it. And you said, you tell that car salesman that you want $20,000 for the trade in. He was going to go back then. He's going to go back to his finance team, tell him what you said. He's going to come back with a number, and he's going to say, "Hey, we're going to give you $300 for this trade in. Take it or leave it."
That's fair.
Because
However,
it's out of
we're
value.
talking about a good woman.
That car was a good car. Honda's Accord is very reliable vehicles.
We're talking about a good object.
hmm
We're talking compared to a person.
Okay, so this
So
woman.
you're telling me that
Mhm.
a good woman, a wife even, we'll take a good wife
Okay,
that does all the things. The children are happy, the man is happy, the house is happy,
okay.
life is flourishing.
hmm
And in 10 years, she's going to lose her value?
What do you mean? Is she still a wife or is she divorced?
No, she's still a wife.
Oh, then no. Then that's a different president. No, yes, her value is still increasing because, like you said the key word. She's a wife.
Okay.
She's a
Okay.
wife.
I'm just making sure because I thought you said no.
No, she's a wife. Excuse me. I thought you was referring to single women. Now she's a
No.
single woman, still out
Okay.
here
So
trying to
you're
become a
saying
wife
single
at 51
women.
years old. No, that value is decreased.
She could still bring something to the table.
Absolutely,
She
she
could still
definitely can.
improve your life.
Okay, well, this is the thing that, and this is more on men. What men have to ask themselves if we're dealing with these women: was she taught to be a wife? Because a lot of women out here weren't taught to be wives.
How would a man know that?
That's why you got to ask those questions. You got to see how this woman moves and how she operates. And these are some of the things that a lot of us men aren't taking into consideration. We got a lot of women out here that are coming from broken homes. They're raised by their mothers or their grandmothers or their aunties. They didn't see no positive example of a man in the household. And now they're sitting up here and demanding because they've gotten a lot of information from other women on what a man should do, how a man should act, how a man should conduct themselves. And a lot of these women haven't seen positive examples of a man. And that's the problem. We have a lot of women telling other women, you know what I'm saying, what a man should be, how a man should walk, how a man should talk. And a lot of this is very beneficial towards a woman, what she's going to benefit within the relationship. So they go out here, so they don't really have anything, and that's really what kind of gets things on a bad start from the get go when they're out here on the dating scene or having kids from these men because they're not doing a good job of the screening process themselves because they didn't start with a solid foundation on know what to look for and know what signs what red flags to look for from a man to know that this isn't someone that's going to be a good father, this isn't someone that's going to be a good husband. But a lot of times, sometimes they get digmatized. Yeah, y'all get digmatized and he gonna change, girl. He gonna be all right. And then now you living in that life and now the kids is coming out and you seeing that, he's not changing. He's not maturing. He's not growing as an individual. But guess what? He was the same person he was from day one. There wasn't any self-growth because you didn't demand the self-growth, or a lot of times a women will ignore the signs that were shown to them. A person can only hide who they are for so long. Let's just keep it 100.
True.
A person can only hide for who they are for so long.
That's true.
And a lot of times, a lot of these women, they fail to pay attention to those signs. A man had already showed them.
I think it boils down to people not having the right conversations in the beginning.
Agreed. I definitely agree. We're definitely not having the right conversations. That's why I'm saying it needs to start from the get go, from day one. Let's
Right.
change the president. And women, y'all are gonna have to be a little bit more demanding. I think that at that point we would see more wives. We would see more husbands if women demanded, you know what I'm saying, a little better, higher expectations for yourselves. Don't sit up here and that's what I'm saying. I don't know yourself, whatnot, but if women out here having 2, 3 kids and then failed relationships that didn't work with the baby daddies or baby daddy, and then moving on and like you say, growing from those situations, and now they demanding they want to be a wife because they've seen now 10 years later after that relationship that they have more self worth and value. I think that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy to a lot of men. And I'm speaking for the fellas. Like that's crazy. That makes absolutely no sense to us. So when we hear women say that, especially with the arrogance that a lot of them have, it's like, Humble yourself. Humble yourself, baby. Okay? Because you made these bad decisions to have these kids from these previous guys. It didn't work out. You was in a toxic relationship, whatever the case may be. Chose to stay in that. Okay, it didn't work out years later. Now you're moving on. Now you got this high checklist of what a guy has to do, and now he has to earn you moving forward. He should have been earning you from the get-go. You should have been a wife from the get-go. And it's big, it's really big in the black culture. We're seeing this, the Hispanic women, the white women, they're becoming wives. Black women are being baby mamas.
I think the number of women that you're describing far outnumbers good women. So I don't know if this can be turned around for a few or a smaller percentage of good women, decent women to say, oh, I'm going to demand these things, because men are just going to say, oh, well, why would I accept these demands from you when I can just go to the next five chicks and get whatever I want whenever I want?
Mm. Well, then it sounds like it's a problem with the women culture as a whole. Then, when you agree,
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
that's my hope. I'm not saying that across the board, that it's gonna be 100% across the board. But let's say, and what state did you live in?
South Carolina.
Okay, so you live in South Carolina. So let's say, you know what I'm saying, just across the nation, let's say 85% of women were demanding to be wives.
Mm-hmm.
The nation, the numbers are going to change. Us men are going to get more and more on board. Now, will we be frustrated at the get go and you know what I'm saying, have some tension and be a little resistant in the beginning? Absolutely. But like I said, we get back to what our elders was doing. That was the standard from the get go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one cycle, how they say history repeats itself, but we haven't seen this history repeat itself. It's getting worse, especially within the black communities. We're getting more baby mamas and less wives. More broken homes. These kids need two parents in the household, and that's not happening. And then I'm seeing these women, they get on here and they're bashing on these social media platforms or their social media pages, and they're blasting the men, the baby daddies. But these are the men that you chose to have kids with. But now all of a sudden he ain't shit. He wasn't shit when you first was with him. Oh, he was toxic. He was this. He was toxic when you first was dealing with him. Oh, he don't want to work. The nigga ain't had no job when you met him. He was staying with his mama. But he sold you that dream. I'm going to get it together. And you believe in his potential. That's what a lot of times was happening. Not paying attention to the flags. Not saying everybody got to be perfect from the get-go, but what is the steps and what is the process that the man is taking to put themselves in a better position? A lot of times women will ignore that because they're looking at the potential of a man. And then it doesn't work. Then frustration settles in, or real life settles in, because the kid's going to come. Now it's time to go ahead and feed and provide for these children. And it's not happening.
Do you think this is reversible if enough women demanded it? Do you think that would happen?
Absolutely. Like I said, us men, we would be frustrated. But will we have to get on board? Absolutely. Because who controls sex? Women. Like I said, women control sex, not men. Like I say, all we can do at the end of the day is put ourselves in the best position possible to shoot our shot and get that cookie box. But at the end of the day, y'all are gonna let us know whether or not it's gonna happen or not. Why do you think we got so many male strip clubs across America? We got a lot more male strip clubs than women strip clubs. Wouldn't you agree?
True.
Because
Why is that?
because men love sex. We're very physical creatures. We love to see attractive women. So like I say, if the bar was set higher, you know what I'm saying, then we would see that, you know what I'm saying, more often. Women got to just be realistic. Like I say, they get back to the old school days, especially, I mean, come on, we live in a world of social media now. You know what I'm saying? Women are at the tip of your, just a swipe away. So if you're seeing more attractive women, you know what I'm saying, setting a different precedent, oh, hey, listen, demanding to be wives first, I can guarantee you we're going to see more husbands out here. Now, is every man going to get on board and go for it? Absolutely not. Just like every woman's not going to get on board and demand that. But if we had more women demanding that, we can level the playing fields and we can have less broken homes. So I'm tired of sitting up here hearing about these women being on the date and seeing ask a young lady being on the date, hey, how's it going? How many kids do you have? Oh, I got 3 kids. What happened in your prior relationship? Why it didn't work out? Oh, he was toxic. He was this and he was sorry. He didn't want to work and he didn't want to pay no bills. Okay, how long was y'all together? Oh, 10 years. So you stuck it out 10 years with a man who wasn't providing and wasn't doing what he needed to do, carrying himself as a man? And you gave him 2 kids on top of that? Because you thought he was wait one day, he was going to be the immaculate conception one day and wake up and just take this responsibility grown man pill and get it together. And it never happened. But guess what? Didn't have those conversations in the beginning. Wasn't paying attention to the signs that he was showing. Wasn't paying attention to the red flags. A person, an individual is going to show you who they are. All you got to do is pay attention. And we need more men in the household because, well, I'm tired of seeing these son husbands running around here. It's ridiculous. Most women cannot raise men. And they're failing tremendously. But society is okay with black women raising children and failing.
What's the son husband?
But that's a whole nother conversation.
Okay.
But yes, I think the tables need to be turned and women, y'all control that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I mean, you seem like an attractive woman. You know what I'm saying? So if you was to set a different timetable, excuse me, I'm sorry. Are you single?
No, I'm not single.
Okay. So say when you were dating, okay, what was the foundation of conversations that you think were important to have, you know what I'm saying, when you first, before you probably led you to get into a relationship?
The intention, what you're both looking for.
Okay.
And that can change. But I think as it changes, then you have to, say that if you're both not looking for a relationship or one person may be and the other one's not. But you have to have that conversation where you want things to go and how you want it to be and things that are deal breakers for you or things that might be triggers for you or past relationships, what worked and what didn't and why didn't it, being accountable, things that you could have done differently.
Correct. Agreed. All good, like you say, all good conversations, good points, and things that should be communicated as far as that, whether or not you want to try to move forward with this person or that person or individual. I think that's very important. Absolutely. And like you said, there's no guarantees that it would have worked out, that's going to lead to, marriage because life happens. You guys could grow apart or whatever the case may be. Anything could happen. Who knows? But I think that's one of the things we just got to have faith in and hope that with that line of communication is being open, that, you guys that you're on the same page. And then when things do happen and, or things do change, that you guys are having those conversations. But at the end of the day, a foundation has to be set. You know what I'm saying? Men are looking for a softer, more gentle woman. A man doesn't want to feel like he's with someone who's trying to match his masculinity. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why a lot of times with the arrogance or the delivery of how a woman is communicating her worth and her value, it just comes across wrong. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it just needs to be a better job of, being delivered. All men, we know your worth and your value, but it just needs to be a better job of being, delivered, to the messenger. But, I agree, and hopefully everything will work out with you and your partner, and possibly that will lead to you being a wife one day. Would you like to be married?
I would.
Okay. All right. That's what's up. Hopefully so. Hopefully that, works out. How long have you been,
Thanks for putting that in the atmosphere.
True. How long have you guys been dating?
About 6 months.
Okay. Things are going well?
Things are going very well.
Okay. That's what's up. That's very good. I mean, and also too, in both with men and women, have realistic expectations. I think that's another key. Have realistic expectations. You know what I'm saying? As
Very
far
true.
as relationship moving forward, financially, whatever the case may be, have realistic expectations. I mean, we're living in the same, marketing economy. Things are very expensive now. You know what I'm saying? And finances can bring a lot of stress within relationships, and we see that.
Mm-hmm.
Break up a lot of relationships as well.
Right.
So it's very important to have those conversations. Things ain't always going to be just beautiful. It's not always going to be just, the honeymoon phase. Sometimes things are going to get
Yeah.
rough. But
So
I
have
think a
to
lot of,
be comfortable having the uncomfortable conversations.
absolutely, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And no one, I think a lot of times with us guys, and definitely myself included, we just don't want it. It's hard to be vulnerable, but you got to learn how to, have those conversations. And a precedent has to be set for the women as well, creating a space of a man being vulnerable, not being judged,
Mm-hmm.
um, and feeling comfortable having those conversations. And it goes both ways because men have to do it as well. But I think just by nature, a lot of times women do a better job of doing that than us men.
True.
So, but it's important, very important. Any other questions you got? Anything else? Anything else on your mind?
And at the moment, I think the takeaways were women in their delivery.
Okay.
They can still have their worth and value
Okay.
without having to say it,
Right,
and
right,
definitely without being arrogant. It's a shared responsibility for two people meeting to have the conversation of intention and being clear
right.
and um, being honest and accountable.
That's real. That's real. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, man. Well, you sound like you got a good head on your shoulders. Sound like a
Thank
smart
you.
woman. What do you do for a living?
I'm a nurse.
Okay. All right.
Hmm.
Hey, but I heard have you heard this? I heard nurses are some of the biggest cheaters.
No, I
Yes.
haven't heard that.
Yeah, I seen it on social media, man. Now, I don't know if it's true,
You
but
can't believe everything you see on social media.
absolutely, absolutely. They say
Hmm.
the nurse profession, or leads to some of the biggest cheaters. So it's like,
Yeah,
wow.
nursing isn't as glamorous and sexy as TV makes it seem.
Okay, I thought that was very interesting. So, and how long have you been a nurse?
About 15 years.
Okay, all right, that's what's up.
Hmm.
And how do you like it? You enjoy it?
I do.
That's
I
what's up.
do.
That's what's up. Yeah, I tip my hat off to you. I couldn't be no nurse. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know the first thing
We
about a
all
nurse.
have our things.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. You're teachable. We're all teachable.
Oh yeah, we definitely are.
Hmm.
We
Sure you
definitely
look
are.
nice in some scrubs.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one, but hey, it is what it is. I don't know. But that's what's up. That's what's up, man. I appreciate you for your time. Appreciate you for what I'm
Yeah.
saying, calling in.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you much. You enjoy the
Appreciate
rest.
your insight.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna try to be, going live at least, let me see, at least once a week,
Okay.
especially on Saturday on the weekends, normally anywhere between, 9 and 10, you know. I'm a big sports fan, so sports season is over with right now. So
Mm.
giving me a
You got a
chance to,
little more time.
yeah, a little more free time and, get a few things off my chest and have some good conversations. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like people like yourself. So,
Mm-hmm.
appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. Be sure to check you out next time. I'll bring a friend to watch.
Absolutely. I appreciate you. You have yourself a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Right. Appreciate y'all, world. Thank y'all for chiming in. Like I said, topic for the night is why do women have kids first and want to be wives later? Had a good conversation with Miss Jessica. Appreciate her for chiming in. Thanks again, Jessica, for chiming in and your comments and good convo. So, I really appreciate y'all, man. I need to get some more fellas on here, man. I need to get some more fellas on here. I think I actually missed a couple of y'all while I was on the phone. Excuse me, I was talking to, Jessica. But, I seen a couple of y'all was trying to invite as well. I sent y'all the invite. So if you're still out there, please go ahead and tune in and, let me know your thoughts, comments, things that you got, So I really appreciate it, especially from my fellas, man. I want to hear some fellas. It was good to have a young lady chime in and share her thoughts and, experiences and what her expectations are and wish her the best, in her relationship, or whatnot. So hopefully all that works out and, she gets all that, life has to offer her and her partner, within their relationship, man. So, but I think ultimately, like I said, we just got to have realistic expectations, men and women. I think it's not a fact of a lot of men are okay with, dating a woman that has kids. I think a lot of it's just the delivery. Be coming correct. Humble yourself. Don't be so arrogant with it. Just be respectful. Be calm. Love the confidence, but the arrogance, it's like, come on, man. Because at the end of the day, us as men, we see kids as liability, especially when they're not our kids. And also, too, make sure your kids are well behaved. Take the necessary steps to do that. A lot of y'all women out here talking about what your value and your worth is. Then you got these son husbands sitting around who ain't contributing, sitting on the couch scratching their nuts, playing PlayStation all day. Ain't no grown man signing up for that. Because if I'm getting up, going to work every day, the last thing I want to see is a grown-ass man sitting up in my house, sucking up my hair, eating up all my food, and he's not contributing nothing to the household. So that's very important. Guide your kids up to be self-sufficient and responsible. That's what my parents did. That's what I'm doing, encouraging my kids to do. And hey, now, are they going to fall short at times? Because we're not perfect. Absolutely. But the standard needs to be the standard, and we got to start moving the goalposts back, man. And ultimately, fathers out there, if you got kids, stay in your kids' lives. It's not the easiest thing to do, especially when you're co-parenting. Obviously, the first thing would be great is to be in the home with your kids. And life happens, but continue to stay in those kids' lives. Women, let those fathers raise those kids and be a part of those kids' lives, especially these young men, because you guys do not have all of the answers on how to raise a man. Okay? You guys do not have all of the answers. Let these men be involved and don't shoot them in the foot. It's a lot of women, single mothers out here who raise these young men, and I hate to say it, a lot of y'all have failed. A lot of y'all have failed. But it seems like society is okay with letting a lot of single mothers fail, or make, I'm not even gonna say all fail or make mistakes as well. Guess what? Us as men, let us make those mistakes with our kids too and learn. Let us grow and challenge ourselves and better ourselves for our kids, because they're our kids as well. Society needs to look into a lot of those rule changes as well. The process, and just because you're the mother doesn't necessarily mean that you're the best parent for that child. So just needs to be a different timetable and things that are rules that are being set and some adjustments overall to the system. But, that's a whole nother conversation right there. So, but I appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all for chiming in. Appreciate you for your time. I'm going to go ahead and get on up out of here. Like I said, chime in once a week. Lions Den podcast, man. Appreciate y'all, world. Y'all be safe. Have a good night.